Dear students, good morning all of you. Yesterday I had sent you the important words with their meanings and gist of the vision of your English main course book, first point. The first chapter of your book is A Letter to God. A Letter to God, it has been written by G.L. Fuentes. The full name of G.L. Fuentes is Gregorio Lepos Fuentes. Before the start of this lesson, I would like to inform you some important points about G.L. Fuentes. G.L. Fuentes was a Mexican poet, journalist, and after all, he was a good revolutionary. He had participated in Mexican Revolution. Insofar as his early life is concerned, he was born in November 1895 and he died in 1966. During his youth years, he mostly spent his time at his father's general store. His father has set up a general store and Fuentes worked there for most of their time. During this period, he came into contact with some laborers, with some farmers and with some Indians too. In the beginning, he also joined a school and he wrote a number of books and poems. But after all, his career was successful in the field of journalism. As a revolutionary journalist, he worked for Mexican Revolution. And the main thing about his work is that since he was in contact with laborers and farmers, so he had a deep knowledge and sensitivity towards the problem of these people, and that's why most of the writings are concentrated on these two group of people like laborers and farmers. And today we will start. I would like to request to all of you that you must open your English main book, first flight, and the first chapter, A Letter to God, and come on page 3. Please come on page 3. I will discuss line by line the context of this short chapter, and I hope you will be able to understand each of the concepts mentioned in this chapter. Let us start. The house, the only in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. Here the writer says there is only one house, and that very house is located on the top of a small hill. From this height, one could see the river, the field of ripe corn, dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. From that house, anybody could see the entire valley of the region, the entire fields of the region, and the fields were fully covered with flowered crops. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. And since the crops were flowering, there was a great need for crops, was that it was a good rainfall. Throughout the morning, Lencho renewed his field intimately. Please remember the pronunciation of this word, intimately. I have already given the meaning of this word, closely. Had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Since Lencho was a very hard-working farmer, although he was poor, but he was a hard-working farmer, and that's why he was very careful, serious about his field, about his crops. And so from morning to the evening, he closely and instantly looked at the sky. Here is the question, why did Lencho look at the sky? The answer is that Lencho was a hard-working farmer. He knew his crops, the needs of the crops, very closely, and his crops needed good rainfall. That is why he always looked at the sky for not counting the stars, but whenever the clouds will cover the sky and it would rain in a good amount. Next paragraph. How we are really going to get some waters, woman? Addressing to his wife, he says that, really speaking, they were going to get a good rainfall for his crops. The woman was preparing supper. Supper means evening meal. Supper means evening meal. His wife was preparing supper meal. She replied, yes, God willing. Yes, God willing. Here we should note that although Lencho is a good farmer, he is very sincere towards his crops, harvest, and that very woman, his wife, is also very hopeful, positive. And when Lencho asks her about a good amount of rainfall, she also expresses in positive, and that she says, if God will, it would certainly have a good rainfall. The older boys were working in the field. Here it is clear that Lencho has two children, and his elder child was working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house. Until the woman called to them in the midday, his wife called the children to come and to take dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, being drops of rain began to fall. When these persons were taking dinner, it started to rain, and the drops were very weak. That's why in the northeast, huge mountains of cloud. Here try to understand this phrase. Huge mountains. It means in the northeast direction of the sky, a huge amount of black clouds started to cover the sky. A huge amount of clouds started to cover the sky. And we approaching, the air was fresh, and sweet. Certainly, usually we see that before it rains, the air becomes very cool, fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason. Now, Lencho came out of his house, and the only reason he went out was that to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. He came out his house, and the only purpose of his coming was to feel the rainfall on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, "These are not raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. They are new coins." When he returned his home, returned to his house, he was very pleasant, he was very happy, and pleasantly he said that there were no raindrops, they were coins. We will discussing during the classroom study this very point. Shortly speaking, Lencho compares the raindrops with good coins. It means rainfall will promise good harvest, and if there is good harvest for Lencho, certainly his income would increase. That is why he compares big raindrops with big coins and small raindrops with small coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s. He compares the big drops. Very important to know for all of us is that the 10-cent here is the unit of currency. He compares that, he sees that the big drops are like equal to 10 cents and small drops are equal to 5 cents. Is it clear? Let us go ahead. One paragraph more. After that, I will conclude this lesson. With a satisfied expression, he was fully satisfied, since he was very happy because his crops needed a good amount of rainfall and the rain had started. That was why he had also compared big drops, small drops with coins, and that was why he was fully satisfied that in the coming months he would have a good harvest. Fully satisfied expression. He regarded the field of ripe corn, looked attentively. He looked attentively at his field of ripe corn. Ripe corn, the corn that was ripening, वह फसल जो तैयार हो रहा था. Ripening with the flowers draped in a curtain of rains. It means all the field, after when it started to rain, all the crops, all the fields were being covered with the raindrops. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Now the adverse period starts. Till now, as we saw that Lencho was very, very happy when it started to rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones. Hailstones, I have already given the meaning of this word yesterday in the written material. Here once again, hailstone means frozen mass of ice. Soon the rain turned into hailstones. These truly resemble new silver coins. Here, hailstones, small pieces of snow, have been compared with silver coins, and that was certainly misfortune for Len Chou. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Here frozen pearls means hailstones. The boys also came out of the house and they started to collect the small pieces of snows. Today, now concludes, I conclude the lesson today. In the next period, most probably on Monday next, we will discuss further. Soon after, I am going to give you some very small questions regarding these three paragraphs, and I hope all of you seriously write the answer of those questions. Thank you very much.
Good morning to all of you. I am Bipin Kumar. Today we will discuss the next parts of the first lesson in English main course book, First Flight. Students, in the previous session I had already discussed the beginning some paragraphs of this lesson. During the discussion, we have already learnt about some important information about the writer of this lesson. Today, I would like to discuss the next part of the lesson. Before we start, I would like to inform you, I would like to recall the important gist of the parts discussed in the previous sessions. As we knew, Len Chou was a hard-working farmer. He was poor. He had a lonely house. His house was located on the top of a small hill, and he had good crops in his fields. But his crops needed a good amount of rainfall. From morning to evening, he used to look at the sky for raindrops. One evening, the sky rose in the waves. Black clouds started to rise in the sky, and big raindrops started to fall in the form of rain. Len Chou was very much pleasant, and he compared the raindrops with new coins. We have already discussed. His wife was making dinner, and he told her that if God willed, it would have a good rain. But the soon rain turned into hailstorm. All the crops were destroyed, and they became white as if it were covered with salt. Today we will discuss the further part of this lesson, page number 4, last paragraph. You should look at your book seriously. I am going to discuss line by line, and I will give you important concept of this paragraph in simplest way. Okay, let us go ahead. It is really getting bad now, explained the man. It is really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. When it started to fall in the form of frozen pearls, hailstones, Lancho became very, very sad. He was shocked, and he says in his very pale voice that it is going to be very bad for them. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly. For an hour, the hail rained on the house and the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Lancho is thinking that if this hail storm continued for an hour, all the fields, all the crops, all the areas, all the valleys near that very region will be covered with hailstones, ices, and completely destroyed. Not a leaf remained on the trees. This is the picture after the hailstorm. Here the writer says, not a leaf remained on the tree. The corn was totally, crops. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers gone from the plants. Lancho's soul was filled with sadness. This is the position of the hailstorm. All the leaves came out from the trees and the crops were totally destroyed. The flowers fell from the plants, and at this moment Lancho's soul was filled with sadness, extreme sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of field and said to his sons, very sensitive line, a plague of locusts would have left more than this. The storm stopped. Lancho came in his field, and when he saw his field, he was so shocked, he was so pained that he compares the hailstorms with the plague of locusts. In the ancient time, in the medieval time, a large group of locusts attacked, settled on a field, and they destroyed the crops of the field. Is it clear? And here he says that a large group of locusts would have left something in the field, but this hailstorm destroyed everything. This hailstorm left nothing for the farmer. He is saying to his son this one. The hail was left nothing. The hail has left nothing. He exclaims with sorrow that very hailstorm has left nothing for them. That night was a sorrowful night. Certainly, it was a very painful situation for Lancho. He did not sleep that night because that very night was very sorrowful for him. and all our work for nothing. Very important to know. All our work for nothing. He says that all his efforts went into vain. उसके सारे के सारे प्रयास विफल हो गए. There is no one who can help us. He is very frustrated, disappointed. And he says to himself that there is nobody in this world who would come to help him. We can understand the mentality of Lencho. There is no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. He is very fearful. And he comes to the conclusion that there is nobody in this world who would come to help him. And that very year, he is doubtful, he is suspected. He has a fear in him that very year he, along with his family members, would go on hungry. There are some questions here I have already given in the previous session, and these questions needs very, very short answer, and I hope you would have prepared the answer of these questions. Further on, I will also help you to give the answer of these questions. But you should must try your best to answer the questions. It will help you in many ways. Next paragraph now. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary alone house, but in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, this line clearly says that not only Lencho, but his sons, his wife, were also very shocked. Very, very shocked. There was a single hope, help from God. This line. Lencho with his family felt that there is no way to save his family. He would have to die on account of due to hungry. But he has only one ray of hope. He has only one ray of hope that he would get help from God. It is clear that he has deep, unshaken faith in the mercy of God. Let us go ahead. Don't be upset. Don't be upset. Upset here, worried. Even though this seems like a total loss, remember, no one dies of hunger. No one dies of hunger. He says to his wife that there is no need to worry. There is no need to worry. No one dies of hunger. Although, he further says, although it seems that all the crops have destroyed, they have nothing, but there is no need to worry. That is why they say no one dies of hunger. That is what they say, no one dies of hunger. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God. That very night, he did not sleep. And he thought and thought whole night that God would necessarily help him. Because This line shows clearly the unshaken faith in God. Only, although the night Lencho thought only of his own hope, there was only one hope, and that hope was the help from God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed here means taught, instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. Conscience, you can say conscience. He has been from childhood taught that God is everybody, God is everywhere. Even God is present in the inner conscience of a person, and he looks everything. God looks everything. He is omnipresent, present everywhere. He is omniscient. He is all powerful. So this was the deep faith of Lencho in the existence of God, in the justice of God, in the mercy of God. And that is the one ray of hope in his heart. Is it clear? Let us go ahead. But still he knew how to write. God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience, soul. He had been taught from childhood that God is present in the heart, in the inner conscience, in the soul of everybody. Lencho was an ox of man. Here this is the phrase. It means he was a hard working person. He used to work like an ox. He used to work like an ox, working like an animal in the fields. But still he knew how to write. He was something good in the sense that he was able to write something. The following Sunday, next Sunday, at the daybreak, since he did not sleep whole night, so he rose, he got up early in the morning, daybreak, bhor, prabhat. He began to write a letter. He decided to write a letter, and he started to write letter early in the morning, next Sunday. Letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. We come to the conclusion that next Sunday, early morning, Lencho wrote a letter, and he himself went to the post office to drop the letter in the mailbox. What was the content of letter? Now we have to learn what was the content of the letter. And what did he write in his letter? Now we have to learn. Be serious. Look at your book. Please look at your book. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I go hungry this year. Heartbreaking line. In his letter addressing to God, he wrote, if you don't help him, he along with his family members will go hungry this year. Further, I need 100 pesos. Pesos here, unit of currency in Latin America. Now, is it clear? Pesos. First of all, he explained his miserable condition before the God by first line. He wrote that, God, if you didn't help them, his family members would go hungry that year. Second, he requested the God to send 100 pesos. For what person? For what purpose? Sorry. For what purpose? I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crops comes. What was the purpose of demanding 100 pesos? He demanded from God 100 pesos first to grow his next crop, to buy seeds, etc., etc. So he demanded that he should be given 100 pesos so that he should grow the next crops and he would feed his family till the next crops ripened. Next harvest came in his house. Is it clear? And to live until the crops comes because the hailstorm. Further he wrote that is all of his should I stop today here? Yes, somebody's. Thanks. Okay. In the next session, we will further discuss the lesson, the other part, the remaining part of this lesson. Soon I am giving you some very important and very, very short answer type questions. And I request you once again to learn the lesson and to answer by yourself the questions. You must prepare the questions what I am going to give. Soon after, I am going to give some important question from the text discussed today, only discussed today. Is it clear? Thank you. Wishing you very, very happy and nice day and bright future. Okay. Good morning, students. In the previous two videos, I have already explained the chapter related to God. We have already been able to learn some important things about Lencho. As we knew, Lencho was a hard worker person. He was a farmer. His crops needed a good amount of rainfall. Although one day in the evening it started to rain, but the rain soon turned into hailstorm. All the crops in the fields of Lencho were completely destroyed. Lencho felt very shocked. He was pained and he was very fearful that he would go on hunger. But he had great faith in God, and so he decided to write a letter to God requesting him for some money for two purposes: to feed his family members till the next crop comes. Second, to buy some seeds to grow the next crop. Is it clear? And he came to the post office, wrote a letter, bought an envelope, and kept this letter into the envelope and dropped into mailbox. Further, we are to learn today page number 5, last paragraph. We have to start from here. One of the employees who was a postman and also helped at the post office went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman he had known that address. The postman took out the letter from the mailbox, and when he saw that the letter was sent to God, he started to laugh with full heart. He thinks in his career he had never seen such a letter, and he handed over this letter to the postmaster. The postmaster, a fat, amiable means friendly, sociable. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing. When the postmaster saw this letter, he also started to laugh. Broke into laughing means he started to laugh loudly and but almost immediately, almost immediately means soon after, he turned serious, he became serious. Although in the beginning, the postmaster laughed with clear heart, but he soon became serious. And tapping the letter on his desk, he put the letter on the desk and commented. He remarked, he kept the letter on the desk and he remarked, "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God." And he became serious and he starts thinking, what a great faith the letter writer has in God. He also wishes that if he had the same faith as the writer has in God, उसे भी उतना ही विश्वास होता परमात्मा में जितना लेटर राइटर का है. So in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. The postmaster decided not to shake up the writer's faith in God, and now a new idea flashed in his mind. He decided to answer the letter. What was the idea? What was the new idea that came in the mind of postmaster? That very new idea was that he decided to answer the letter. Although the letter was sent to God, but here the postmaster decides to answer the letter. So what does he do? But when the postmaster opened the letter, what does he find? Answer the letter, but when he opened it, it was evident from the content of the letter, what was written in the letter. When the postmaster opened and read this letter, he found that only goodwill, ink and paper. As we know that, what does the materials need? What does the material needs for writing a letter? We need a piece of paper, pen, ink, etc., etc. But here when he read the letter, when the postmaster read the letter, he found that only well-wish or ink or paper were not needed to answer the letter. It was needed more than these things. And evident means clear. Here it was evident, clear. It was clear that the letter, to answer the letter, he needed more things. Goodwill. But he stuck to his resolution. But he stuck to his resolution, it means he kept his determination firm. He finally decided. He determined whatsoever may be, but he had to answer the letter and he asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. Now he decided, and what did he do? He asked his employee to give some money. He also donated some part of his salary, and he also forced his friends. He also forced his friends to give some money as an act of charity. In this way, he collected some money. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. Although we must know that Lencho had demanded 100 pesos. In the previous video, I have already discussed what was pesos. It was unit of currency prevailing in Latin America. And so, Lencho had demanded 100 pesos, but the postmaster was not able to collect 100 pesos. Finally, he was able to collect more than 50% of the demand of Lencho. And the 100 pesos. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho and with a letter containing only a single word as a signature God. And the postmaster kept all the money he had collected in the envelope, and he wrote on the cover page of envelope, from God to Lencho. It means he wrote on the letter, the sender of this letter was God. In this way, we see that this was an act of very sensitivity, an act of charity, and it shows that the postmaster was a very sensitive person, very amiable person, and he had a great moral value with him. In the next video, we will discuss the next part of this lesson. I think in one video this lesson would be completed. Just after this video, I am going to send you some questions regarding the text today discussed today, and I hope all of you will seriously, sincerely learn the lesson and answer the questions I am going to give you. Thank you.